So we quickly move on to Jean-Baptiste Millogo to also give us his presentation for today. So Jean, you have the virtual floor. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, moderator, and happy to join you remotely from Ouagadougou. Thanks again for inviting me to contribute to this conversation on internet measurement and what kind of value adds can bring on the community, especially in Ghana one. And thanks to our chapter president, Maud, and all the team for inviting me on this session. So I'm Jean-Baptiste Smith. I work for Internet Society. And I will present here one tools we work with the community to build to help all the industry to have a view on what kind of data we do have in our ecosystem and also how we can work to improve data in the country and globally in the world in Africa. As question, what are the rationale we have behind when working on this, on building these tools? We try to have to highlight some kind of question. What are the flow we have in country? What are the baseline we need maybe to focus on and monitor and see the grow and see the change? But also we need to provide to decision makers some data when come time to take some decision, some investment and for the internet growth. But it also help other people in the community to see that there is some opportunity from internet they can use and to improve, I will say, their life. Those are the key things we are trying to highlight here and to use data to show them. The audience is large. From the tools we are presenting here, depending on where you stay, you can maybe have your own part. You can be a non-profit organization, you can be policymaker, you can be, I will say, tech community. I will say all kind of people who can contribute to make internet bringing value, to make internet changing life. You could have your input or your takeaway on from these tools. And this tool we call pulse.internetsociety.org have been launched, I would say, five years ago. And it tried to aggregate several data from several sources and to bring, I would say, in short data point to all the audience talking about, and it can help us to have more visibility and to improve. You can use it, I would say, like dashboard, your daily dashboard, and when you need to have, I would say, of internet in your country, you can come there. And if you need also to have an idea on what is going wrong somewhere in the world, so you can have this tool as dashboard and you can use it. And what are the key focus areas you can have on our data and our platform? We split it in several ways. You have tools or technology who can enable internet. We talk about addresses, and Yazid was talking about IP resources, but in this part, you can go to IPv6, DNSSEC adoption, also PKI adoption in country and see if there is, I would say, best practice have been applied in your industry or if there is a gap you need to clear. We have also some interest on internet availability. Is there any internet shutdown ongoing? And do we have some data how we can measure the impact of those shutdown in terms of economic impact? Or if there is maybe some disruption on the services, maybe some services or some application have been maybe put out for some reason. We do have also a key part where you can measure the internet concentration in your country or in your region. It means, is there any diversity within your upstream provider? Is there any data center in the corner you can maybe use to host your data? Is there any hosting facility? All those things we can contribute maybe to have a clear visibility on how the distribution of internet is in your city. But we have also some interest on IXP, on local peering, because as you may know, we need to bring more traffic locally to reduce latency, but to improve user experience. And we have also, the last one is the resilience in self. what is the situation of infrastructure, what is the performance, what is the level of security, and is there any gap in the market readiness to support the development? So when going to Pulse, you could have opportunity to go to all those metrics and to see what is the current situation in Ghana or in other regions. How we measure, why we need to measure resilience. That in some time, what need to be there is not present. We could be facing some internet outage. The reason can be different. It could be linked to political issue. It could be linked to, I will say, gap in best practice, internet configuration, like BGP protocol configuration gap. It can be a result of maybe submarine data cable outage. So when good position to provide internet or when internet is not available, we can maybe have different kind of who and where there is a deviation. And our internet resilience to measure is we do have some kind of framework we are using for those who are from research and education industry. So you have a detail of our analysis process, and I can share those links with you later after this presentation. So I will go through infrastructure, performance, security, market readiness, but also environmental disaster. But all those things can be explored and explored very deeply on the platform. It's in life. When going to those metrics and this approach with Pulse, we come to the fact that we can have some key average for globally level and to see how we can maybe reduce the gap year by years. And you have here some idea on currently the global average of interest resiliencies in the world. But we can also have a visibility per region. So focus on Africa here, you have 33%, which means that we do have some effort to do globally. And regional level, we can have also a visibility on within Africa where we have more gap. It's not mean that we are trying to compare here region, but we are trying to show what we can collect from data and where we can maybe put collective effort and improving. So from this global, regional, and sub-region perspective, we can go deeply and see in country what are the gaps. For those who are there during one of these, have run this presentation in September in Ghana, in Accra, and in that time, the performance of Ghana was 33. But from September to here, something changed. You have seen here that from today or from now, your performance have grown from 33 to 35% to 50, which is good. Maybe there was some gap on data analysis. Maybe you have been facing some maybe huge reorganization in the industry, but we can see here that there is an improvement, and that is why it's good to have tools and use those tools as maybe a matrix and monitor things time to time and see where we can push more and more performance, more and more effort. And you can see on the graph here that from 20 to 24 or to now, there is, for example, I think it is the performance globally there is a growth here and those last period. I think that all for me in terms of Pulse presentation, but what we can do moving forward, I think there is some recommendation to improve globally Ghana resident data. We can continue increasing market diversity. We can continue, or we can maybe continue working to have more IXP in the country. I think we do have at least 3 now, but it means that we do need to develop more local caring in each region, not only in Accra, but maybe in the north side, in everywhere in the country where we can improve data. We can also push to have more local hosting, and we can try like today to bring conversation on what exists in terms of measurement and where we need maybe to push more. I will pause here. Just it was an opportunity for me to present you Pulse as tools, But maybe during the question, if there is some part we need to develop more and show more data from Ghana, I would be happy to share. Thanks a lot, and back to you, moderator.
Thank you very much, Jean. We appreciate your presentation. All right, so we move on to Brice. Brice, are you ready for us? We are ready, both in here and online. We are ready for you to also give us your presentation for today. So, Brice, Abba, you have the virtual floor.
Okay, so my name is Brice. I'm work with Afrinic and I'm stakeholder development manager. And I will also talk about the importance of measurement. And we have the program at Afrinic called AIM, that is Africa Internet Measurement. And this program we are running this program together with Internet Society and RIPE NCC, who is another regional registry. Afrinic is a regional internal registry, so I don't know if everybody knows what is the regional internal registry, but I will start by defining what is the regional internal registry. So we are a non-profit organization that the core function are three. So number one is to distribute IP numbers. So IP numbers are basically IPv4, IPv6, and autonomous system numbers. As you know, those numbers are very important for our organization, our networks, and also for individuals to get connected to the internet. So regional internal registry, one of their core functions is to assure the distribution of those IP. The second function is to ensure that when we are assigned a block of IP here in Ghana, we don't assign the same block in Cote d'Ivoire, in Benin, or in Togo. So we have to maintain an index of all those resources by maintaining a database. And the third point of the core function is because we are bottom-up system of management, the community decide and we apply. We have what we are calling a resource policy discussion, where the community discuss how they want Afrinic or they want their regional internal resource registry to manage those IP within the region. So we coordinate how their community is discussing how we are going to manage those IPs and close to those core functions. And we have many other functions as capacity development, internet governance, etc., etc. And to talk about the measurement, it's very important to know that when we want to improve something, we need to, are you getting me? I'm receiving message. I don't know if it's clear for everybody.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, all right. So I just said that before we improve something, we need to learn what has been good, what has been wrong, and based on that, we can improve and modify. So this is why it's very important for us to monitor each part of the internet. And this is why I put here some of the points that are very important for us to monitor. So we have the routing security and RPKI monitoring. So those are tools that Afrinica put in place to help our members to secure internet routing. And here we help our members that they should monitor those different points, that the preface visibility, to ensure that different routes they advertise on the internet they are not hijacked by third party, and to ensure that they also follow and get assistance from us to deploy IPKI in the network to ensure that the IP numbers that they advertise are assigned and they can tell that nobody can use them, etc., etc. So it's very important for them to monitor those parts, the routing security and the IPKI deployment that they did in the network, and there to support them as well. We also have internet exchange point performance assessments, and we have today many financial support from World Bank and many other organizations to push the XP deployments in Africa. But before to deploy or before to improve, you have to ensure that you have to know, you have to do an audit to see what was good, what was wrong, and what are the way of improvement, etc., etc. So here as well, we can assist our community member to give them some key points that they should go and measure to ensure that everything they are doing, all the support that they are going to receive will be used accordingly, properly to take the XP to another level. Another point and another important one is network outage detection. So we want to be connected. We want to be online 100%. We don't want to be disconnected from the internet. And we have to find a way to measure that as well. If we want to improve, if we want to make some change in what we have deployed in the core of that network, what we have deployed, the access network of our customer as well. So here as well, we need to check. You remember that in the beginning of this year, we had some several cables that were cut, like 4 out of the 5 in Cote d'Ivoire, and that's an impact, had a huge impact in the west of Africa. So many of those cables were cut, and we realized the big outage in all those countries in the west. And for the countries where they have deployed internet exchange points, they tend to mitigate this outage. But for the other country where the internet exchange point were not that used, or they realized it was very difficult for them to get connected to the internet. So those are some points that you have to look into and ensure that you take necessary measures to mitigate them. That's a user perspective. We also want to ensure that have good experience when navigating, when browsing to the internet. And this way we have to also measure as user what am I gaining from my internet service providers. And this is very important for us to see what are the elements in our access network that need to be changed, what need to be improved, the devices that need to be changed or need to be updated, etc., etc. And we also have today we have the exhaustion of IPv4. That's a fact today. In Afrinic, we have less than 800,000 of available IP addresses for the entire Africa. That's very few. This is the reason why it's time for our internet service provider to think about deploying IPv6 as well, without forgetting the security measures that you have to put in place. So there are things that are very important for our economies if we want to ensure a good internet experience for the customer. And the point number 5 that I want to touch is the policy and research support. We are doing a program with universities. We have partners that research to see how we can improve the quality of the internet in Africa. And it's very important for us to support those kind of initiatives because their community, the users that are doing those researches, we can use the result of those researches to improve and to see what are the area that we need to touch, what are area we need to adjust to improve the internet quality in Africa. And we also have the policy that is very important. I mentioned earlier that one of the key functions, the core function of the regional internet registry is the resource policy coordination. So these are policies. So these are how we want the community, how we want the registry to run organization, how we want internet to be present in our life. So the community need to work together to bring on the table real policy that can help our community to move forward, that can help the different organizations that are working in the internet in Africa to take good action, to take good decision to ensure that internet is moving forward. All those monitoring stuff, all those points need to be tangible. And to make them tangible, we need to put some tools in our networks that we have partnered with Bripe City, which is the regional internet registry of Europe, to distribute what we are calling the probes. The probes are some devices that we put in our networks and they measure their behavior of our network. So this is very important because without those tools, you can't have those measures that we are talking about today. So if you don't put those tools in the network, those tools won't be able to get the behavior of your network. We don't be able to get the behavior of your customer in your as far as internet is concerned. So it's very important to know that having those devices, those small devices in the network will help us understand your network, will help us understand how your customers are going to the internet, and based on that, we can give you some report. As JB just presented to you, those reports are made using those devices that I'm going to show now the map. So with this, the map of the props that we have today. So as you can see, we have very accurate information coming from Europe. You have very accurate information coming from America. But in Africa, as you can see, we have very few devices that are collecting data for us. As you can see, we have very few devices. We don't have many devices. So when you check, for instance, in the West, you can see that we have very few devices collecting data from the network. In the south of Africa, you can see. So we are going to get accurate information regarding the behavior of the network compared to the West. You can check Central Africa is very useful. When we check Europe, that we have a lot of devices installed. This means that the information that we are giving back to the community is very accurate. So I would like to encourage the community members here. I want to encourage the members of the community who are running networks to come and collect some of the probes if they don't. Or people tend to have the feeling that those devices can collect information and send back to the RIPE, etc., etc. But it's open. You can have access to the code source and you can check and verify what type of information those devices are collecting in your network to be reassured and continue connecting those devices to the network. So I'm going to stop here for now. And if you have questions, I will take them going forward. Thank you. And I hope you have been informative enough for you. Back to you, MC.
Yeah, thank you so much, Brice, Abba, for your wonderful presentation. Yes, so now the floor is opened for questions. Yes, we have one in us here.
Okay, I'd like to ask a quick question. My name is Isaac from MTN. The probes you install, do you have specific server requirements, and what kind of data do they measure from the network perspective?
Oh, first of all, we have we have two types of probes. We have the anchor, which is let me call it the master probe that collect many other probes information. And we have the probe itself that is very small and we are putting on network. So in terms of requirement, it's very light. It's not taking it big. I can give you the link to have because we have they did some update in the system, but we still don't need to have much to get them connected. But I can share with the link to have the good data. And the information that they are collecting is just the behavior, what are the different websites that your network is or your user are currently using, and what is the request you are currently using. And we can also, when you are in this system, when you are in the program, you can also customize, you can also ask the probe to collect some information for you. So you can tell what you want. And when you are in this program, you can also see the information that are available from the other region, from the other probes. So you can see the behavior of this particular network and this other network, this particular country, etc., etc. And based on that, you can adapt and adjust towards the different things that need to be adjusted in the network. And again, as I said, you have code sources open. So you can connect and see the code and check what are the information they are getting from the network. But as I just said, we understand that people are a bit like reluctant to have it like it's a third-party device, it's closed, it can be risky to have in the network. But I can assure you that regarding the map I just saw, you can see that this device is extremely deployed in the world. So this means that there is no critical risk of having this device in your network. Again, when you are using this device, you have a credential, you connect to the platform, you can tell the device, I want you to monitor this for me. You can customize your device. It's open to do many things that you want to do. And years after years, the committee is modifying, is improving the capability of the probes. So if you want to know more, I will put my email on the chats, and you can just email me. I will give you the information that you want.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isaac. Yes, anyone here and online as well, the floor is still open for your questions.
Okay, so thank you very much for the presentation. My name is Emmanuel Togo from Garnet. I want to find out from your experience what accounted for the low adoption of the probes into our network. Is it that available for us to pick, or if you want it, how do we get it to be able to deploy in our network to improve visibility of our network performance? Thank you.
I was muted. Thank you for your question. Yes, and a very interesting question. Yeah, the first thing is that people are reluctant to change, so we don't want it something new. It had been a new device, and people in the community were like, okay, I'm going to put the third device into my network. We have people used to it. In Africa, we are hesitating. In the beginning, we used to hesitate to adopt this probe. I have myself a probe at home, and I've been at home for a while, and there is no issue. So the first problem was that people were hesitant. And the second one again is the availability of the probe. In the beginning, we used to call it probe when we were present physically in the meeting, and we realized that people were collecting probes without activating them. And so we stopped bringing probes, of course, because when you are bringing probes, distribute probe, at the end of the day, they're not online. And we were like, okay. But I think that the first thing is hesitation, and the second thing is availability now of the probe. If people get the importance of having probe, if they understand, if they see, if they have the community, they realize that it's good for them, we are going to start bringing probe. I have 10 probes at home that have not been distributed yet. I'll be glad to send them to Ghana. And I'm just there. I'm staying in Cote d'Ivoire, so I'll be glad to send it to Ghana if you guys guarantee that you are going to connect those probes. Again, it's open source, so the code is open. So it's safe to have them in your network, and it's very low resources. So at the end of this, fine. As we can see on this map, most of the countries have the probe installed because they want to know how they can improve the network. They have to know what are the websites, what are the behavior of the customer in the network, what are the different services my customer are using, so that I can put more resources on those of the services. I can say that, okay, maybe they might like this service, this particular service. So you are going to put a lot of people building these services, but by having the result of the probes regarding the behavior of your customer, you will realize that this service that you are putting a lot of resources in is not the service that your customer wants. Based on that result, you can adjust and reallocate resources, etc., etc. So it's very important. It's a very useful tool that I encourage the internet service provider to put in the network. And if you guys want some probes, as I said, I have 10 at home that I would like to send to Ghana and see how we can together get them connected. Thank you. I hope I responded to your question.
Yes, you have. All right, Ghana is ready for the devices. So I think the next courier coming from Cote d'Ivoire to this place, just start packaging them, and we'll find very useful ways for implementing it here in Ghana as well. Brice, thank you so much for your presentation. It has been very insightful, and we hope the devices are going to be used here in Ghana to also contribute to the global perspective. Thank you so much. We are grateful.